Hi Simon, quick what's in the bag for here. So as you can see, it's all one length. Putter's currently sitting upstairs somewhere. Cool, be interested to hear what you think. Thank you.
Guys, how are you all doing? It's Simon with another What's in Your Bag video. The last video I did got an incredible reception, and since then I've been sent over 90 plus videos of your guys' bags, which is an incredible reception, so thank you. And then also the support on all the other secondhand videos whilst we're in lockdown. I really appreciate the support whilst we're trying to make some kind of content and obviously give you guys advice and help whilst we're all in the same boat. So if you wouldn't mind leaving this video a like, that'd be incredible. The video that I uploaded last night, 12 hours in, has already got 500 plus likes, which is astonishing, so thank you for all of the support. But without delay, let's get into some of the bags. I'm not going to obviously go through all 90 in this video, but let's get into some of the bags and answer some questions to give you guys the best way to upgrade your bag without spending a fortune. Okay, so the first bag is from Jack. Jack is 12 years old. So first of all, Jack, thank you ever so much for watching the channel, and B, sending in your video, because I'm thinking a lot of guys would actually be interested what a 12-year-old that plays off 5, that's right, handicap of 5, uses in his bag. And he's asked me a few questions. Should he upgrade to a couple of wedges? He wants to get a UDI Cobra Black 3 iron, as well as does he upgrade to the Mizuno 919 forged iron? So Jack, let's see your video. Let's have a look.
Wedges, I like the 50. This is just old, and this I don't feel like it spins as much as the Loki's, which I like. Then for irons, I have pitching wedge through 3 iron and the MP33s. Those are nice. They're just
okay. So Jack's got MP33 irons in the bag. Now he said that these used to be his dad's. They've been bent slightly stronger for him, so they were, I think the 7 iron was like 38 degrees, it's been bent to 36, but that's still a very traditional loft. And Jack's saying that he's hitting his 7 iron at the moment 135 yards. So let's be honest, if that was the JPX 919, normal loft's probably about 32, I think, off the top of my head. So it's going to be stronger. He's going to be hitting his 7 iron 150. However, I love the fact that he's been learning and practicing with blades. I think it's key, especially when you're starting to grow. He says his ball striking's good, which I'm not surprised, because you're going to have to learn to strike the ball well with the irons that he's actually using. Let's have a quick look at the rest of his bag.
Traditional lofts, so my 7 iron doesn't go as far as I want it to, and I need a little bit more out of it. And then I don't have the shaft in it right now. I was tweaking around with some like different shafts in this. M5, I usually have it set at 17 degrees to get good in my 3 iron. Then I have the M1 and Scotty prototype center shafted, which I really like as my putter. I like those 3. So yeah, thanks for responding.
Okay Jack, thank you ever so much for sending your video in. Great looking bag, and at the end of the day, it's a difficult one for me as a club fitter and a coach, and I don't know, I think the best advice for me is ask your coach what you should do. Now, you're going to get added distance with the 919 forge, there's no question about that. However, they are expensive irons, and you've got to do a lot of growing. You will do a lot of growing over the next couple of years. So it is a question of, do you go and get some 919s now and get them fitted for you, but then realistically in the next 2-3 years they're going to be nowhere near what you need? Or do you go JPX 900s, which are very similar to the 919s, similar in terms of look, feel, everything else? You're going to get them at a lot cheaper price, and it's going to give you that added distance that potentially you might need in the bag. In terms of driving iron, you say you can always hook hybrids, you don't like hybrids. By the looks of things, Jack, you're 12 years old, but you're still bombing it because you're hitting a 7 iron, 36 degrees, 135. So you getting a 3 iron, I think, is a great option. Cobra utility, again, nice piece to have in the bag there. As I say, top end of the bag seems great, and I love your Scotty camera centre shaft putter. If you love it, that's the more important thing. Do not trade it if it's working. But overall, Jack, I think it's great. Yes, you can upgrade to the SM8 wedges, but again, similar story. Wedges obviously gonna wear themselves out every 2 years, and if that's something you want to invest in, then by all means do that. Having a set of wedges that are all quite similar at the bottom end will only help your kind of consistency. But Jack, great bag, well done mate. Okay, so the next bag is from Calvin. I think Calvin, he didn't say his age, but I imagine Calvin's probably in his teens as well. I could be wrong. He says, don't rip my bag too much, which is quite funny when you actually see what he's gaming. Now, driver swing about 105 miles an hour, 7 iron at 83, currently a 20 handicapper, which is a dangerous combination. And again, that's why I think he's on the younger side, because that handicap's going to go tumbling down. Good dyslexia there. So let's go into his video of his bag. Now, he doesn't do any commentary, which is fine. But if I first of all just show you that bag there, so we've got M3 driver, we've got the F8 Cobra woods, we've got Futura Scotty Cameron putter, we've got XR steelheads, and we've got SM, I believe, 8s or 7s in the bottom end of the bag. Now, if I said to you, what kind of handicap is that person, you wouldn't go 20. Because that's a serious looking bag. I mean, it's looking good. I love the look of it. I love the feel of it. I love the XR steelheads. I think they're a great iron. And overall, I would say you've got more than you need there at the end of the day, Calvin. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the bag. So I love the Scotty Cameron. I didn't see the loss. I think you just got a 3 and a 5 wood, is that? So you got a 3 and a 5 wood in the F8s. Again, really good deal if you want to have a look at some reasonable price adjustable woods. And then he's got 40 pitching wedge in the steelheads and SM6s. And is that SM7 at the bottom there? He's got some S300s, I believe, in the steelheads and everything else. So, Calvin, you said don't rip your bag. I'm going to do the opposite. Calvin, your bag's too good. You're not going to need to change anything in your bag for a very long time. Realistically, the only thing you potentially need to change in your bag would be when you start getting down to, I'd say, 9, maybe 8, and you're going to have to trade out those steelheads for something a bit more precise and have something. So you almost go in the opposite way, Jack. You're going to have something a bit more bladey for that kind of position. Now, the bag looks unbelievably good, but the only upgrade you're going to need is when you finally get down to the single figure handicap. Otherwise, stick with exactly what you got, because I think it looks rather nice. Okay, next one is from Mark. Now, this is a very interesting bag, and it makes me really think about where I was when I started this game and 10 years down the line, because now it just seems so simple. Like, why don't you just do this? Why does not everyone think this way? But obviously, I've got 10 years experience and 5 years as a professional and teaching and learning and gaining more experience. So this is a very interesting bag. Now, Mark's very new to the game. He hasn't broken 100 yet. And he's gone down the 1 length route, which I don't think is necessarily a problem, because the man has the club head speed to do it. He's got mid 80s in terms of club head speed with an iron, so obviously he's in the stiff flex range. But let's have a look at his bag. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's have a look at his bag. Now, first of all, can I just say, Mark is an absolute legend, because he's actually filmed this in landscape. And I forgot to mention this to everyone at the start of the last video. Please film in landscape, because it makes viewing a lot better. Anyway, let's watch the video.
Hi Simon, quick what's in the bag for here. So as you can see, it's all 1 length. There you go, they are all the same length. I've gone for the F8 set from 5, here he is. 5 all the way down to the lob. So that's those guys. Everything in between, gap and sand, and then the longest club I've got is this fella, which is the 19 degree hybrid. Putter's currently sitting upstairs somewhere. Cool, be interested to hear what you think. Thank you.
Mark was also kind enough to send us a video of his swing as well, so Mark, I hope you don't mind me showing the channel your swing. And there it is. Okay, so he's been having lessons and he's got a couple of questions for me in terms of what changes he should make to the bag. Now, he did say, I've got concerns that he hasn't got a club in the bag at the moment that goes north of 200 yards, which again is quite key. He's asking, should he replace his 1 length utility with something quite similar, with like a speed zone 4 iron, or a 3 hybrid, or something different that's not 1 length. Again, he's also thinking about getting more lessons specifically with the hybrid. My advice to you, Mark, is you've got a great looking bag, you've got all the clubs that you potentially need at the moment. Buy a cheap driver. buy a cheap driver. We're talking Ping G20 stiff flex driver, 10 or 10.5 degrees, and go and start hitting some drives at the driving range. Get a lesson on the driver, and then realistically you need to get out on the golf course with a professional, potentially, just to give you the ins and outs, because A, your swing's too good, B, your clubs and yardages are too good for you not to broken 100 yet. So there's got to be something out there, chipping, putting, whatever it might be, that is letting you down. So in terms of, there's no point making fine changes like changing your hybrid for a 4-iron or driving iron or another hybrid. Let's make a big change. Let's get a 240-yard shot in the bag, because your swing eventually will be able to do that. And then let's work on the bottom end of the bag. Don't worry about the middle bit, that's all good. I love the way it looks at it. You did ask, your shots with the hybrid go left, left and left. Does that mean the flex in your shaft is too flexible? Potentially, but we're talking 2-3 degrees. If they're going left, left and left, that means the ball is close to the target by about 25 degrees, which is technique based. So it's not the club that's going to be the main issue. If I hit your regular flex hybrid at 100 miles an hour, I'm still going to be hit it somewhat straight. That's the bit you got to learn. Yes, shafts make a difference. Yes, heads make a difference. Yes, clubs make a difference. But we're talking small differences. When your swing's consistent enough to make those small differences work, then great. At the moment, you just need to get the raw fundamentals. Big drives, get some out there, as well as that short game, low end of the bag. I want to see some more wedges, and I want to see putting practice, and you'll be breaking 100 by the end of the year, no problem. Next one's from Mika Harris. Now this is a great example of what you can do second hand. Mika says, loves the series. He upgraded from a box set 2 years ago. He's broken 80 for the first time. He regularly shoots in the low 80s, and his favourite club is the 3-iron. And let me quickly show you his bag. He's bought all of them second-handed. He's never been fitted, but look how good this bag looks for a second-hand bag. Now there's no audio, which is fine. Now he's got the 430 head. Now if anyone doesn't know, the 430 head is more of like the tour head there. So for example, it makes it a lot more difficult to hit, or it's a lot less forgiving, let's say, but if you catch one, it goes an absolute mile. But he says his scores are good. He's thinking about upgrading a driver and maybe a bit more X-stiff range. That TS2 looks lovely. I love the irons, by the way. Those Mizuno JPXs, I think they look fantastic. I think they're the 850s, I couldn't quite see. And then putter, what's the low end of the bag? It looks like he's got some Wilson Staff wedges, which again, 52, 60 and a pitching wedge. That as a second-hand set, I'm not too sure. Now the annoying thing is, oh there we go, you can just see the 3-iron there, and he's got a fly high by the looks of things, Mizuno iron there. It's all second-hand. I'd love to know, Mika, how much your bag costs. If anyone can do that in the future, if you've got a second-hand bag that you're really proud of, I'd love to know that cost, because that's a great looking bag, brand new. That bag would be up to £2,000, I would say. Second hand, it's going to be a fraction of that. So great looking bag. His advice or question to me anyway. Now in terms of advice for a new driver, I think the M1's a good driver. That tour head, the 430, is a smaller head though. So you're not going to get that much forgiveness, and you're thinking of trading driver up, I'd probably recommend going 460 if you haven't or if you're not breaking 80 regularly. Something a bit more forgiving. Ping G series driver. I'm gonna have to say something different from Ping now. What about, I mean, to be perfectly honest, you could just trade it out for the M2. So you've got the M1, TaylorMade M2 2016, same year, it's about $120 or $130. Get a hazardous, just get a Project X 6.5 in there. That's going to be a rocket, it's going to be a monster, and it should be more forgiving than what you've already got. I did a video yesterday as well, Callaway Epic, similar standard in terms of low spin, monster, 460 head though, give yourself a bit more forgiveness, and yes, trade up into an X-Stiff, but without seeing your swing, or you hit it, or know your bad shots, it's difficult to really precisely give you a great driver specification, hence why club fitting is quite important. But overall, think bag looks great, mate, keep doing what you're doing, and you'll be breaking 80 consistently in no time. Next second-hand enthusiast, Justin Hitchens, thank you for your email. All of these clubs are demo, or lightly hit, or second-hand, and he's really taken the inspiration from this channel to build a bag. He even said, you've inspired me in so many ways, and have made the sport accessible and still very sexy in my opinion. I'd agree, Justin, you can make a very sexy bag without spending an absolute fortune. Current handicap, 18. let's have a look at the bag. He's thinking about maybe trading out his irons in the future and upgrading them, getting a custom fit, but let's have a look. So these are all demo clubs, basically club fitters clubs that they've used to fit for. Love that shaft, by the way. I'm not overly versed in Titleist TS2 gear because I've never fitted for it, but overall, I mean, it's gone down a lot better than the 900 route of last year, so it must have been doing quite well. Now, these are the ones he's thinking about changing. Now, can I just say, these irons right here, Mizuno, now he's placed off 18, so these aren't the most forgiving irons in the world. However, MP64 irons, I don't know how much these must go for. First of all, they look astonishingly in good condition, by the way. So you bought these for a great bargain wherever you got them. But if you're looking for a smaller head and you're looking not to spend that much money, I'm gonna roughly guess now you can get these for about 160, 180. I'm not too sure, I'll have to research. But overall, if you're looking, say you've got a cavity back, you want to get something a bit more smaller, a bit more forged in the head, by all means, MP64 Mizuno, great choice. Now these are probably a bit small, I would say, for an 18 handicapper, but that's good because it's going to teach you, Justin, to find the middle of the club face. And I personally think these at the moment are going to be great for you, again, until you get to a position of single figure handicapper. Then yes, go and get fitted for a combo set and have something a bit smaller on the lower end and a bit chunkier on the top end. Yes, however, I think you're doing all the right things. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the bag. Basically, he said this whole bag is half the price of what it would have been if it was brand new, which I love. The condition of the irons are just astonishing, by the way. Love the multi-compound grips on them, big fan. What's the lower end of the bag? And then we've got some SM7 wedges, again demo, and a Scotty Newport, which he bought brand new. The Scotty Newport is going to cost probably about the same amount as the rest of the bag, by the things. But I've got nothing wrong with that, guys. If you spend $300, £300 on a putter, and you practice your putting, then good. If you don't practice your putting, then there's 0 point. But overall, love the dog, by the way. What a cutie. But if you spend a lot of money on your putting, good, but practice it. If you're practicing your putting 4 to 5 hours a week, spend £500 on a putter. If you're not practicing your putting for 1 hour over a month, then by all means get a Dunlop special out of the shop because your putting's not going to be any better. But I love the Scotty Cameron, I love the Newport. Mate, the bag looks exceptional. I think you're doing all the right things. Again, keep grinding, get your swing to a consistent level, i.e. a 7 iron from 150 yards, you should be able to put 8 out of 10 within 10% of that range. So 8 out of 10 shots should be within 15 yards of the flag from 150. Once you can do that, go and get fitted. That's my advice, because then you're consistent enough to warrant a fitting. Overall, mate, bag looks great, well done. Next video. Okay, last one of this video. Apologies if I haven't got to your bag yet. I will get through them or reply to them. For future entries, can you film them landscape? That'd be great. A bit of commentary would be nice, because then I can mute it if you're rubbish. But then also having your input as well is quite good. But last one at the moment, this is Will. He's 64. Not played for 10 years, got back playing 3 months ago. Swing speed used to be around 85 miles an hour for the irons, but it's gradually dropped. I think he believes it at about 76 miles an hour at the moment. So reg steel, something like that, hits his 7 iron, 145 to 150. His driver, the question to me is, he wants to have a look, again, the Mizuno ST200, which is obviously quite new, 9.5. But which shaft? He guesses he needs to be fitted, and the 3-wood with the Titleist 917 and a 3-wood with the Titleist 917 hybrid, similar shaft, even flow, etc, etc. So what do I suggest? Now you can fully well go and get fitted for those. Now if we look at his bag looks great anyway. I love the irons. I think they're perfect for you with those NS Pro shafts that you have in them. I love the Cleveland wedges. Highly recommend Cleveland wedges for anyone that's looking for a modern wedge, doesn't want to spend 150 quid. H1 hybrid, I believe, what's lofts has he got in both of those? 21, I'm guessing the other one's probably about 25, 26. Oh, here we go, 25. And he's got the Project S even flow shafts in them, great shaft. Now, AMX 700 wood and driver. Here's what I recommend to you, Will, is Yes, you can go and get fitted for the ST200. Yes, the guy's going to do a good job. Mizuno have a good array of shafts to use. But with the wood, don't go 3 wood. Very rarely do I fit for 3 woods anymore. Think about when you're actually going to use a 3 wood. I highly recommend getting a 5 wood. Going and getting fitted is going to give you that gapping anyway, which is obviously helpful. Love the Scotty Cameron putter. But I wouldn't go 3 wood because you think you need a 3 wood. I'd go 5 wood if you weren't to get fitted, because you're going to hit your 5 wood just as well. And at the end of the day, it's going to be more forgiving, it's going to help you out the rough, it's going to be used off the tee, etc, etc. Potentially I'd loft up in the higher end of the bag. I wouldn't go 10.5, I'd go and get like maybe a 12 degree Mizuno head, because you can always loft it down. But as this is going to be, if you go and spend £600 on a driver and a wood, I want them to last you for the rest of your life now. That is it. You're going to be fitted. You're only going to get slightly slower as the years go on. So make sure you're getting fitted for that 15-year, 20-year gap now. That's what I suggest. So I'd always go 5 wood rather than 3 wood, because yes, you might hit it great on the day, but next year, the year after, potentially not. 5 wood, definitely. Mizuno's great. If you didn't want to spend the money, nothing wrong with getting a 190 and getting a 190 Mizuno ST or whatever driver and 5 wood in your bag if you want to save some money. But overall, I think the bag looks great. I think the ST200s would look great in the bag as well. And I'm sure with a bit more practice, now you're back into it, welcome back to the game, you'll be loving them. Right guys, there you have it. Thank you ever so much for watching another version of what's in your bag. Again, if you do want to send me some clips of your bag, sasgolfacademy@gmail.com is the best email. Guys, thank you ever so much for watching. Catch you guys later.